Hey guys, I'm Zeno, but Moshi's not here today, and I'm here to start this brand new series based on the snapshots that Mojang release every week. Now if you don't know what the snapshots are, they are pre-releases of something that will be in the next big update, in this case 1.8. You've probably seen the names around, for example 14W21A. Now if you don't understand these, it's pretty simple. The snapshots come out weekly, and so they do the names based on the weeks of the year. So the start is 14 for the year 2014, the W stands for week, and the number after that is the week in the year. So 14W21A is the 21st week in 2014. The letter A, B or C is there because it's usually more than one snapshot a week, usually to smooth out bugs from the week's A release. So I'm going to be showing what I've missed from the 1.8 pre-releases, which go up to 14W21B. So guys. So altogether so far, Minecraft have released 9 new blocks. Now 3 of these go together. This first block here looks a little like the old texture of gravel. Is called diorite, and diorite is made from 2 cobblestone and 2 nether quartz in a checkerboard pattern, either like that or like that, and that gives you 2 diorite. You can also find diorite underground just as easily as you can find grass or stone. And diorite is also used in the making of these two, and these two are granite and andesite. Both of these you can also find underground, but you can also make using diorite and nether quartz for granite, and diorite and cobblestone for andesite. All 3 of these, when placed in a 2x2 pattern in a crafting bench or in your inventory, can make polished diorite, and well, the diorite makes polished diorite, the granite makes polished granite, and the andesite polished andesite. Now you need 4 of each block, but they do release 4 of each polished, and that's what they look like polished. So those are the first 6 blocks that Minecraft have released. The next block is the slime block, which has some pretty interesting properties. It needs a 3x3 grid of slime balls to make 1 slime block, and just like a 9 block would, or a gold block. Now slime blocks are bouncy. You bounce about 60% height from where you started, and you take no fall damage at all. They're also really slow to walk on, much slower than walking on soul sand, quite close to the speed of crouching and walking, like sneaking. And they're also sticky. So use slime balls to make sticky pistons, which not only do they push, but they also pull the block back. But one thing that they only do is pull the first block back. If you pull, there we go. It doesn't pull these 2 blocks back. Now that's what the slime block does. As you push it, it connects all these slime blocks together and pulls back that at the end. Now this only works if it's a run of slime blocks. Because this lapis lazuli block here interrupts it, it will stop working. I'll show you that. It only pulls back up to the lapis. Now this one, because you can connect on any sides, you can put a lapis block here and it would work. You can make some pretty weird and wacky wonderful creations, because as long as there's no more than 12 blocks altogether and no non-slime block interrupts the chain, well, this one doesn't interrupt the chain because it's just on an end, it can move back and forth quite freely. Now the 4th and final use of slime blocks is that is if you put a mob on top of a slime block on top of a piston, you can shoot it up into the air, and this works well for getting rid of unwanted mobs in your house, and just for chucking some mobs into the air, I suppose. That's 7 blocks. This 8th block is called a barrier. Now to anyone who is in survival, adventure, or the new game mode, which is called spectator, which I'll talk about later, these blocks here, they look invisible. You can see through them, but you can't walk through them. You're completely trapped. But if you're in creative and you have one of these barriers that looks like a no sign in your hand, they appear as no signs in the world. This does look a little ugly, but Good for making survival games domes because they can't see through them, and you also can't mine them at all unless you're in creative. And they can also have blocks on top of them, like this lapis block. And they also hold blocks, so if you put sand or gravel on top of them, it would look like it's floating. The final block that Minecraft has released so far is the iron trapdoor, and you make this just as you would with a wooden trapdoor, apart from with iron ingots. So a 2x2 grid of iron ingots yields one trapdoor. Now, the difference between a wooden trapdoor and an iron trapdoor is the same between a wooden door and an iron door, in that you can't open it with your hands, but you have to use some sort of a redstone signal, like a button, a lever, or a pressure plate. So that's all the blocks that Minecraft have released so far. I'm now going to go on to the new game mode. So while before you had game mode survival, creative and adventure, you've now got a new game mode called spectator. Now game mode spectator means you have no interaction with the world at all. You can no clip through any block or any entity, that's any animal, without touching it or interfering with it. You can't collect items. You can look in user interfaces and chests and people's inventories, but you cannot pick the items up. The HUD is disabled, as you can see, but if you press this, you can choose a command. You can choose a command, so you can teleport to a player, or you can teleport to a team member. Since I'm on an offline server, this won't really work, but if you click on teleport to player, you go to them, but they can't see you, because unless you are a spectator, you cannot see the disembodied head that you are, which you can just see there. See, so you don't have a head you don't have a body at all. You just have your head, and you're quite translucent. One thing you can do as a spectator is go into an animal. So you see the white crosshair appear there, and if you left click on an animal, you can spectate from its view. And I'm not touching it, and the sheep is moving its head. So as the sheep moves its head, as it looks around, you spectate from its point of view. You can do this with any animal. You can do this with any mob. So that's sheep, cow. You can even do it with enemies like creepers. You can do it with humans. So like if they're running around killing people, it's a good game mode to use. It's a good thing to use for your survival games, because then when you're dead, you can spectate other people. So it's stuff like that. As a spectator, you can you can't actually land, because you can go through any block, which includes the ground. So if I try landing, as you would in creative mode, I go down and I just go straight through the world, because you can go through any block. The only way to really stop is to use the mouse wheel to slow yourself down, so your movement slows down quite far there, and as you're moving, you can speed up like that. You can sprint while you're flying, as you would in creative, and effects affect you. So that's game mode spectator. The only way you can be killed is by the void or the /kill command, and spectators are not noticed by mobs at all. Okay, some other changes are the enchantment system and the experience level system. So if I just go into game mode S, there we go, we see, if I take all this stuff, so if I put my diamond sword in there, first thing you'll notice is that there is a space for lapis, and that has never been on before, meaning that lapis has a use, because before it was just useless apart from for dyes. So each level requires one more lapis than the last, meaning that this costs 1 lapis, this 2, and this 3 every time you come on. The enchantment levels also increase by 1 every time, meaning that you only need 1 for this one, 2 for this one, and 3 for this one, and that's the same every time you enchant. Although you still need to have the required amount on the right here, so 4, 9 and 12. So if I just had 11 enchantment levels, I wouldn't be able to get that even though I only need to spend 3. So this is what's required, and this is what is spent. Another difference is that it tells you one of the enchantments that you'll be getting, or at least one, because you could get more, you might not. You've got more chance of getting more if you've got more bookshelves. So this, if I got this, I get knockback 1 and possibly something else. For 4 enchantment levels, I probably wouldn't expect anything more. Unbreaking 1 for 2 enchantment levels. Sorry, for 9, I probably expect 1 more, and if that's Unbreaking 1, that's Unbreaking 2, you definitely expect some more for that. So if I enchant my level with this, I get Unbreaking 2, and that's it. So it was a risk, but it was taken. So Unbreaking 2, I've still got that on my sword. Because it's harder to gain levels now, that's why it's 1, 2 and 3. They've changed the anvil system as well. So if I want to change the name of this sword to Xeno's sword, it's still 1 level, just 1 level, and that's because you need so much more XP than you did before. So if I was changing, and whilst the name, the length of the name affected how much levels you needed, that doesn't matter anymore, because I think the limit was 8 before. You had to spend an extra 2 points. Now I can just call it super. You get the idea. It's still 1 level no matter how long the name is. So that's changed quite a bit, and not only has that changed, but the villager trading has changed quite a bit also. So if I want to just get all of these, you'll see why in a second. Okay, so one thing that has changed is that the trades that the villagers give now are more balanced, more equal, and, well, they're easier suited as well, so it's more useful for you. So before you wouldn't be able to give 40 rotten flesh, you might be able to get rotten flesh, which is a bit useless, even though you want to get rid of rotten flesh. And villagers now start with 3 to 5 unlocked. I've already unlocked one of them, so we'll use this one as an example. So this one started with 2 unlocked. Sorry, no, they start with 2 to 4 trades unlocked, should I say. So if I was to do a trade, it would open a few more trades for me, but you'd have to do the trade many times. Now they're unlocked much more freely, and you can have up to 3 trades unlocked from just 1 trade. So if the trade is used so many times, as before, it gets rid of something, and it tells you to trade something else to unlock. Whereas before you had to go off of the trade and come back on to get this X. Now, if I wanted to trade this, you'll notice that you also, if I want to trade this, you'll notice that you also get some experience levels, which you didn't previously get. I think we're giving out experience levels for much more things over time, and that has unlocked 1, 2, 3 new trades, and that has also unlocked the trade that was locked before, meaning that if you unlock trades like you can with future trades, you can now unlock trades that have been locked due to overuse. There are now more villager professions, and I'll put these up on the screen as I read them out. So white robes can be librarians, butchers or leather workers. Purple robes can be are always clerics. Brown robes can be fishermen, farmers, fletchers and shepherds, and black villagers are armourers, toolsmiths or weaponsmiths. And now it tells you what type of villager they are at the top, which wasn't previously there. So that one's a butcher, and this one is a cleric. So that's the villager training. That's been reworked with the new enchantment system, and some new changes are that you can now make chiseled stone bricks, moss stone and mossy stone brick. Previously you could only get these in jungle biomes, in jungle temples. To make a chiseled stone brick, you've got to put a stone brick slab on top of a stone brick slab in a crafting table. For a moss stone, you put vines and cobblestone together in a crafting table, but it doesn't matter in which formation. It could be there, or there. With mossy stone brick, that's not supposed to say monster egg. It's vines and a stone brick. So, and again, you don't need to have it in any type of formation, just as long as they're both in the crafting. Next is that wooden doors are now stackable. Previously, you could only get them in ones. Same with iron doors. And now the crafting for wooden doors yields 3 doors instead of the previous 1. Baked potatoes now give 5 hunger points instead of 6, and carrots give 3 instead of 4, meaning that you need more of them to fill your hunger bar. Buttons can now be placed on the top and on the bottom of blocks, meaning that you can place it on all 6 sides of a block now. Items in item frames, instead of previously being up, down, left and right, can now be placed in 8 different directions at the diagonals between the 4 previous. And this also affects a redstone comparator, whereas in the sense that a signal of 0 is when nothing is in the block. That is 1. That is a signal of 2. That is a signal of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that is a signal of 8. Dispensers are now able to make golems if the body of the golem is made. So here we have the body of a snow golem and the body of an iron golem. So if you put a pumpkin in a dispenser like that, it shoots it out and makes a golem in its place. It does the same for the iron golem. Put in a pumpkin on top of that. There we go. Dead bushes and oak saplings are now able to catch fire if the block next to it is on fire. And books, right, if you are to make a book, it will come up with this on the tooltip. It will come up with the name, in this case test, by author, in this case Dragon Xeno, and then underneath it will say original. Now, if you were to put the original book in a crafting table with a book and quill, you are then able to make a copy of original. It says the same, it says test by Dragon Xeno, copy of original this time now. And if you to put a copy of original with a book and quill, you to make a copy of a copy. You cannot make a copy of a copy of a copy, but you can make as many copy of a copy and as many copy of originals as you can. Well, it's a mouthful. So that means that books are more valuable if they're not a copy, or maybe it just means you can make more of them so you don't lose them. Okay. Activator rails now hit people off. So this is an unactivated, unredstoned activator rail. But if I pull this just to send me along, nothing happens. But if I was to turn the activator rail on and send me off, I get tipped out of the cart. Now, I'll just show you that from the side because it's pretty hard to tell what's happening when you're actually inside the cart. We'll just get a new cart and put it up here. If it's to ride with the activator rail, turned off, it just goes straight past. But if it's to ride with it on, it goes past and it tips it out, it shakes, and the mob or whatever is inside it falls out. Okay, torches now have a angled head instead of a angled body and a straight up head. Levers and blaze rods are now held as tools, whereas torches, redstone torches and levers are held as items pointed outwards. A blaze rod is held backwards as though it is a tool. The end portal no longer has an image in the chest or in your inventory, whereas before it had the never portal image of the purple swirls. Now it just has the could not find texture. The trapdoor has been renamed to wooden trapdoor since iron trapdoor could be mistaken. and minecarts with TNT are no longer stackable. All mobs have the new AI. Villagers have the most changes, since when they're struck by lightning they turn into witches. They will only breed when willing now, and the first time a specific trade of their choice is done, the villager will become willing. Any other time there's a 1 in 5 chance that the villager is willing. You can also make a villager willing if they consumed 3 bread, 12 potatoes or 12 carrots. When a baby villager is born, both parents lose their willingness, and there's not really a great way to test if the villager is willing, unless apart from to find out which trade, because the only tell is that usually they give out 3 to 6 experience points, whereas a trade that makes a villager willing yields 8 to 11 experience points. Villagers will now harvest, collect and replant grown potatoes, wheat and carrots. They will craft wheat into bread on themselves, and they will share food with their fellow villagers. Baby animals, like sheep, pigs, cow, chicken, cats, dog and horse, their growth can be accelerated using the animal's breeding item. Iron golems will now attack the player as soon as it is attacked if the player is in survival. So if I hit it and I was in survival, it would now attack me and kill me. Wolves will now attack skeletons without any hesitation, whether tamed or untamed, and skeletons will run away from wolves. If a wolf is tamed and has a name tag like this one called Jeff, when killed it will produce a death message in the chat log saying Jeff has been killed or Jeff was slain. Slimes and magma cubes now swim as a result of the update to the new AI. They will randomly change direction every so often, meaning that they don't get stuck at random corners. They will now despawn over time if there is no player within a 32 block range, and they appear to jump a bit more randomly. Zombie pigmen will now pathfind, and they will run away from creepers that are about to explode, as do other creepers, zombies and witches. Blazers will now shoot the player even if there's solid blocks between them, and spiders and cave spiders can no longer draw a line of sight through opaque blocks. Okay, so that's all the main changes and additions that Mojang have released into 1.8 so far. For other changes like the F3 debug screen, the skin customization, the world customization, log on to minecraft.gamepedia/1.8, and that will give you a whole list. For now, I'm going to leave you with the splashes that have been added. That's number 1. Plus Rutu. Do you want to join my server? Put a little fence around it. Throw a blanket over it. One day, somewhere in the future, my work will be quoted. Now with additional stuff. Extra things. Yay, puppies for everyone. So sweet like a nice bonbon. Popping tags. Now with multiplayer. Very influential in its circle. Rise from your grave. Warning, a huge battleship Steve is approaching fast. Blue warrior shot the food. Run coward, I hunger. So, that's the 26 snapshots that have been released so far, from 14W02A to 14W21B. They release every Thursday, and if you don't know how to get snapshots yourself on your PC, there are tutorials on minecraft.gamepedia.com. As for now, I've been Zeno. Moosh has not been here, but I'll see you later. Thanks for watching.